Marauders for the Month by lishiee. Chapter 17. Hogsmeade. Lily had attempted to stay up and wait for Mary and Marlene to return to the dorms. Her efforts had been futile, however. McGonagall decided to keep them long and Lily ended up dozing off. She only fully realised this when her alarm clock went off. Mary and Marlene, who usually slept through Lily's weekend alarms, both groaned and rolled around in their beds. "What time is it?" Mary croaked, pulling her covers up to cover her face. Marlene grunted and threw her covers to the side, shuffling out of bed and to the bathroom. 7. Mary made another displeased sound, shifting even more violently in her bed before finally getting up. Lily watched her warily. Mary never got up at 7. The girl immediately took her bonnet off and began tending to her hair, placing herself at their vanity. Seeing Mary state, Lily wasn't sure who she wanted to ask about last night. She decided to wait until Marlene was out of the bathroom. That would be the best. Her clothes for today were already folded neatly atop her trunk, so she grabbed them and shuffled over to the bathroom door, leaning against the wall. "It's all Marlene's fault, you know. She was supposed to be watching the map," Mary scoffed. "I heard that." Marlene's muffled voice came from the door. "Good," Mary scoffed. Within seconds of Mary replying, Marlene wrenched the door open, her eyes blazing. "I was the one doing the charm the whole fucking time, Mary. You're the one who suddenly decided you wanted to try the charm and told me to watch the map while I was already doing something. You were supposed to be watching the map last night, not me." "I told you to watch it for 1 second and you fucking couldn't?" Mary sneered. These two always knew how to rile each other up, and it always worked. Marlene immediately stormed out of the bathroom and made her way over to Mary. Before the yelling could start, Lily slipped into the now open bathroom and locked the door. Breakfast was going to be fun. Instead of sitting next to each other like they usually did, Marlene and Mary sat on opposite sides of the table, throwing each other glances every once in a while. They ate in silence until the arrival of Pandora, which took at least 5 minutes. Pandora immediately raised her eyebrows when she locked eyes with Lily after observing the other two girls. Lily only shook her head. "So, what happened last night?" Pandora asked, plopping down next to Mary. "Well, fucking Marlene!" Lily groaned and slammed her head on the table. Mary immediately shut her mouth. Marlene scoffed and dropped her spoon onto the table. "No matter whose fault it was, even though it wasn't mine, we both have to clean up all the vines and shit instead of going to Hogsmeade." Marlene set her mouth into a straight line. "Oh, I'm sorry," Pandora frowned, glancing between the girls. "I was supposed to hang out with Dorcas today, but no." Marlene glared at Mary before picking her spoon back up and continuing to push her food around the plate. "All of Hogwarts has been spared from being subjected to the sight of you two snogging," Mary mumbled, returning Marlene's glare. As suspected, Marlene immediately shut up and went to lunge over the table, Lily having to hold her back. Right at that moment, the boys appeared in their spots. "Ooh, catfight," Sirius smirked. "Shut up, Black," Mary and Marlene yelled back immediately. Lily made eye contact with James and he went to sit. He smiled sheepishly at her before turning to address Marlene. "Marlene, sit down before one of the professors gets involved. Do you really want to have detention on top of everything you have to do today?" Marlene shot her gaze over to James, eyes blazing again like they were in the dorm. Thankfully, what James said worked, and she shook herself from Lily's hold and sat down. "I wouldn't have things to do today if it wasn't for you, Potter. You used to be fun," Marlene mumbled. James rolled his eyes at her. Peter glanced over at the two girls from his spot next to James. He opened his mouth to ask why they were fighting, but James cut him off quickly. "Don't. Trust me," James sighed, finally plopping down into a seat. Silence engulfed the group as they all began to eat again. Silence was a lot better than bickering between Mary and Marlene, so Lily had no complaints. "Well, me and Pandora are going to go." Lily glanced at Pandora once she finished eating. "Can you four watch them and make sure they don't kill each other?" All of them nodded their heads and scooted over as soon as Lily and Pandora took their leave. The two girls walked out of the Great Hall together and into the halls, catching sight of the few hallways that were covered in vines on the upper floors. Lily had been too busy trying to keep Mary and Marlene calm to notice if any of the students were talking about it during mealtime. More than likely, though, if they weren't talking about it right now, after breakfast they definitely would catch sight of the halls and start talking about it. "So who are you going to go to Hogsmeade with if Mary and Marlene can't go?" Pandora questioned, swinging her arms along as she walked. Lily almost stopped dead in her tracks. How had she not realised that she would be going alone? "I'm not entirely sure now that you mention it," Lily replied. "You can hang out with me and my friends then." Pandora turned and smiled at her. Lily hesitated for a second before nodding her head. Pandora's smile grew before she skipped off to the Ravenclaw common room, leaving Lily standing in the hallway. This would be fun. Lily could already smell the scent of chocolate waffling through the air as they got closer to Hogsmeade. Pandora had brought it up upon herself to link arms with Lily the entire way there, skipping down the path and gently tugging the other girl along. Lily wasn't sure how to feel about this. Up ahead, she watched Dorcas and Regulus wrangle Evan and Barty, nudging them towards the three broomsticks. "We'll meet up with them soon," Pandora hummed, turning Lily in the opposite direction. "I'd quite like to go to Honeydukes first." Lily nodded her head like she had any kind of choice. Pandora was in control at the moment. They followed the large crowd of students into the candy shop, squeezing in and getting packed in tight like sardines. Too many Hogwarts students came to Honeydukes on Hogsmeade weekends. Pandora weaved the two of them in between students to go to the back of the store, throwing out loads of apologies on the way. "Perfect," Pandora chirped, tugging Lily into a more spacious area and unlinking their arms. Lily immediately placed her hands in her coat pockets and watched Pandora pluck a box off the shelf. "Absolutely not," Lily gagged. Pandora had picked up Bertie Bott's every flavour beans. Every kid in the Wizarding world knew about them, but not many of the kids ever bought them. This was proven by the shelves being lined with tons of pristine, unopened boxes. "They're awful, Pandora." Lily shook her head in disgust. Pandora smirked and snatched a few more boxes. Lily watched her grab a few more sweets stored in the same section. They all looked like rather odd sweets to Lily. Some she had never even seen before. Once Pandora's arms were piled with the weird flavoured sweets, the girl shuffled over to the counter to pay. For how crowded the shop was, they were in and out fairly quickly. "All right, off to the three broomsticks," Pandora smiled, discarding her new sweets into Lily's bag with the extension charm that still hadn't been returned to her. The walk to the three broomsticks was rather peaceful. No words were exchanged between the two of them. They walked with interlocked arms. Opening the door, Lily didn't even have to take a glance around the pub to be able to find Pandora's friends. She could already hear the ruckus being made by Evan and Barty. Pandora led them over there and sat down next to the two boys, leaving Lily to sit next to the comma two. Well, if it isn't the Lily Evans," Barty smirked, taking a swig of his drink, which Lily immediately knew wasn't butterbeer. "For fuck's sake," Pandora groaned, snatching his mug away and standing up to walk over to the bar. Barty immediately started to pout, and Evan quickly comforted him. "Why would you two let him drink?" Pandora rolled her eyes, coming back within a matter of seconds and pushing a giant mug of water to Barty. Regulus put his hands up, pleading innocence. "It's not my fault the pros outweighed the cons." "In my defence, I didn't let Evan have any," Dorcas smiled, batting her eyes at the girl. Pandora waved them off and started drinking her butterbeer, sliding it over to Lily right after. For a split second, Lily felt everyone's eyes on her before they snapped away and started on a new topic. Everyone carried on a conversation whilst Lily cradled the mug of butterbeer. She had no real interest in whatever the group was talking about. Her real worry was James Potter, who she had sorely underestimated. It felt like someone was breathing down her neck now any time she looked or even thought about the map. It was even worse that she could ever so faintly hear the booming laughter coming from the boys across the pub. Lily felt on edge every time she heard as little as a cough come from her table. "Speaking of, where is Marlene?" Dorcas asked. This time all eyes locked and stayed on Lily. Marlene? Ah. Marlene's ego was about to take a massive hit. She's stuck at the school. She and Mary got caught last night while trying to pull a prank. No Hogsmeade for them, Lily shrugged. Barty and Evan immediately burst into fits of giggles. And she said she was slick, Dorcas chuckled. Yeah, it was mostly out of her control though. Sorry you two couldn't hang out today because of that. Lily smiled softly, trying to convey how sorry she was. Lily knew that both girls were very busy and never really had time to see each other, so Hogsmeade had been something Marlene was ecstatic about. It's fine. She'll come find me later. Oh? Evans perked up, waggling his... Oh? Evan perked up, waggling his eyebrows. Pandora smacked him up the back of the head, immediately scolding him. Lily's jaw dropped. She had never seen Pandora act this way. When Evan was around, Pandora acted more freely. This, however, was bad news for Lily. The girl could feel her pale skin burning up and changing colour. Oi, that shit hurts, you know, Evan grumbled. Barty immediately leaned over and kissed him, mumbling something about making it better. It's fucking disgusting, Regulus sneered, shooting his hands out in front of him to block the view. This egged the two on even more, who were outright snogging at this point. Lily could tell by now that Evan had also had something to drink. He just hit it way better than the other boy. You're one to talk, Dorcas giggled, taking a swig out of Lily's drink. Everyone stopped what they were doing. What? Was shouted in unison. A few tables turned to look at them, including the table housing the Marauders. Dorcas, have I ever told you I hate you? Regulus mumbled, running his fingers down his face. Every day. Regulus immediately began to usher everyone out of their seats, ignoring all protests and questions. Lily watched him flick Dorcas off and storm out of the pub. Is all of the black family dramatic? Dorcas scoffed, taking her seat back. Yes, Lily sighed. Right after the door slammed, Lily and Dorcas watched James excuse himself from the table and discreetly making his way after Regulus. Huh, Lily voiced. Huh, indeed, Dorcas smirked. How exactly is it that your friends are always riling each other up? Lily grunted, heaving Evan up as he started to slip. Not so sure, Pandora pondered, pushing harder into Evan's side to wedge him between both of them. Dorcas was left dealing with Barty alone, who had brought it upon himself to try and touch her face instead of walking back to the castle. It's a Slytherin thing, I think, Pandora settled on. Dora, my leg hurts, Evan pouted, hanging his head low as he dragged his feet along. Too fucking bad. Keep walking. Lily held back a chuckle as Evan groaned and continued walking. Mary and Marlene always rile each other up too, though, Pandora noted. More like they fight like siblings. Pandora hummed in agreement. The five of them walked back to the castle, making sure to avoid any of the professors still scattered around the grounds. The three Slytherins were discarded at their common rooms first, Regulus finally reappearing to help get Evan and Barty into their dorms without a fuss. So, did you enjoy yourself today? Pandora asked as the two girls got closer to the Ravenclaw common room. Yeah, I did, Lily smiled. I'm glad, Pandora smiled back, giving a quick wave and slipping into the common room. Lily's smile was on her face the whole way back to the common room. Today was amazing. I thought it was fun. I did think that they were going to go on a date, but you know what? That makes more sense. So who are you going to ask me with? I just realised I'm going alone. I guess I'll go with you. That was funny. Oh, this whole thing was so funny. I love the Skittles. They're so fun. Okay, thanks for listening.